Hi everyone, I'm Trevor Dykstra with the Seattle Design Festival, and welcome back to another Block Party Debriefs, where we talk to various designers and collaborators from the Seattle Design Festival Block Party about what worked and what didn't for them, and let them show off their designs over the last 10 years of Block Party experiences. I'm joined today by my co-host Tyler. Hello, Tyler.
Hi, everybody.
And Christine. This week, we're going to talk to someone who's going to become our newest co-host, our other committee member from the Block Party, Irene Song. Irene is an art director at Rupert, but previously worked at ZGF Architects on multiple installations, and we're going to talk about them now. Howdy.
Hello,
everyone. So we're going to just dive right into it once I get the presentation loaded here. Let's talk about, I think you want to start with 2018. Actually, maybe share how you found out about the Seattle Design Festival initially.
Yeah, as Trevor said earlier, I worked at CGF Architect previously as an art director at Rupert. CGF has been supporting the Design Festival over the years, so I got pretty lucky to be part of the team who was already initiating the conversation at the time. That's how I got involved in the conversation, and then installation and block party and all kinds of things. So, yeah.
We can. Oh, I didn't mean to. There you go. Make you the center, but here's so this is the first one. This is back when we were in Occidental Mall.
Mm-hmm, yeah, it goes way back.
2017. Well, do you want to tell us about this installation?
Yeah, sure. This was my first participating SDF at the time. It was back in 2017, and the theme was about power. So it was reflecting on our changing worlds and collective values regarding the power that theme. So CGF collaborated with GGN Landscape Architects on these installations, and when we were kind of brainstorming about this idea and installation project, we wanted to come up with some idea to engage the public and create some kind of fluid experience for the public to be engaged. So we designed the installation to kind of observe and challenge people and collectively shape evolving landscape throughout the time. So Uplift is pretty simple installation. We wanted to kind of highlight the message to inspire the public to continue kind of create visible change in their lives and communities. So basically, if you go to the next page, kind of shows how Uplift kind of invites people to write their hopes on a balloon and then attach them onto the fabric mesh after they write their hopes and things like that. And then eventually over time, the balloon will lift the mesh and then we'll create kind of different topography landscape over the times. Yeah, so there's kind of a 3 zone of interactions, kind of divided into engagement, where people write their hopes onto the balloon, and then adding voices, which is the mesh zone, and then appreciation zone, where people kind of even like some people even go under the mesh when it was like lifted up in the air, or just it was kind of pretty awesome to see how people were engaging with the installations.
Yeah, this one turned out well. I mean, in terms of quick and effective sort of surface stuff, it worked really well. You got lucky with the winds. That
I know.
Really, we were really worried about that. I remember.
We got lucky with the weather as well, because you never know, it rains all the time in Seattle.
So I think it was 2 years after this one happened, somebody tried something similar at Lake Union Park, and it didn't. It sort of did what you'd expect, like all the balloons spiraled together into like one clump, right?
Yeah. I think because of the situation that we were put it in that Pioneer Square, Occidental Square, we were kind of able to anchor some of the mesh down with the bricks.
Mhm.
It was kind of, we were like trying to think about like, I mean, it needs to be freestanding and you can attach things on the tree and make sure that everything kind of works within itself. So I think we got lucky to have it in the Occidental Square.
Well, I guess that was it for those. I have some photos as well, but we can go back when we look at stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Let's jump ahead. Okay, so jump ahead. So 2018, you weren't part of whatever install happened that year.
Yeah, this
then-
one was 2019.
Yeah. So now we're in Lake Union Park, our new location. So you want to give an overview of this one? I'll go back to the first.
Yeah, sure. This one, I think it was the first time design festival held in the South Lake Union Park. So we kind of had a lot of some of a situation we were able to play around with them within the park. So this one is navigating perspective. This installation was all made out of recycled materials. The grove tree was made out of paper recycling cardboard tubes. And then the metal pole, and then the base we grabbed from the ballard we use. So we were kind of like lesson learned from the passive experience. So we were like kind of learning about how we want to think about afterlife after this installation, things like that. But this is basically, this installation is all about like creating your own path and finding balance as you go through the tree growth installations. So this page, as you can see, you can see how we try to come up with the ideas and writing down what are the keywords relating to the theme. And based on that, we had kind of regular meetings to check on. And then we had like 3 big themes to kind of explore on each other. And then from that, we ended up selected navigating perspective, which is the very far image on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we also got lucky to have a VR specialist on our team. So during the study, we utilized VR and renderings to kind of create like intimate space filling and arrangement to make sure that it's accessible for all, and we don't want to hit little kids doing all that things. So we were kind of we tried to do a VR and making sure we actually experience in that virtual life, and then make sure it doesn't happen or go bad in the real life.
Yeah. So okay. Well, here let's go. So this next photo shows the wider view. So what was it because you were worried about people getting too compressed in there that you went away from the cluster?
Yeah, I think the total concept and the theme, we wanted to create like an immersive space within the frame that we were given to, but also while that creating immersive space, this is a physical object, so we didn't want people to get hit by the poles while other person is like trying to manipulate or like push onto the other way. So we try to give like enough space to one another so that it's not really touching and making chaos.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that you used VR as part of your design process to kind of test it, right? Because otherwise you'd be doing full-scale mock-ups and kind of arranging it.
Yeah, and then as you can see, there are a lot of paper tubes and the spacer we were designed to. It's a lot of work to create a real mock-up. So I think the VR really came in handy, and yeah, it was really helpful to just visualize it in that space.
Did it scale back what you were intending to do, or did it just sort of transform it to kind of rearrange the pieces?
The scale of the paper tree itself didn't change, but the arrangement through the VR experience, like the arrangement helped a lot because like it was first time having an installation party at the Salt Lake Union. So we were just not sure how much space we are given, and yeah, things like that. So it was more about the arrangement and the placement. Yeah, and then
yeah, tell us what's going on in these photos here. I can sort of do it, but I want to.
No, I mean, this is literally us like picking the polls from the ballot reviews and using our model shop to generate all the production and stuff. I mean, like I said, there were like 240 paper tubes, and so the production took way longer than we expected. But luckily, I think for this time, each team member had like a specific task to manage and time and things effectively. So, like for example, we had like Simon, who's a VR person, and Scott did like a mechanical and structure side. Wenwei did a lot of like renderings and overall layout study. Kat managed like materials and delivery productions, and Libby, Lauren, Grace, Lamy, like so many other people like worked on like production side and helping to put it in the van and the installation in the park. So yeah, I think we did a great job kind of setting each one's a task and making sure this person is doing this thing, and then when it comes together, it's all hands on deck.
Shrink wrapping them.
Is that your full team in the bottom left there?
Yeah, we have this is a part of our team, but yeah, but as you can see on the right top corner, we were testing. Scott was like pushing it really hard to pull that it doesn't so that it doesn't like fall apart. But yeah, that was us like testing our base on the grass.
It's a lot of work that you did.
It is a lot of work.
You know, like depending on how many people you get is kind of like, you know, what your capacity is. And that's a lot of work for what, 5-6 people?
Yeah, I think we started small with a core team to come up with the ideas and then kind of concepts together. And then when it comes close to the production and deadline, we invited more volunteers to help out and some of the production here and there during the workday. So
how long did it take to fabricate everything?
Oh my god. Probably. I mean, luckily we had a model shop in our at CGF, so it was lucky to have them, and then have them just like cut paper tubes for us. But probably a lot of hours, like.
Well, did you start a month early, or did you start a couple weeks out, or?
Yeah, I think for the concept, usually the design festival brief goes out like around April or May. So we actually started right around the time to come up with the concept, and then material research and things like that, because we learned our lesson from the past experience. Like we need more time. So we actually started pretty early.
Here's another shot. We should talk about things for people to know, which I think you discovered on the first day after it had been built. When you came on the morning, the sprinklers had kicked on.
Yes.
Which you can't really tell with these. You can tell a little hint here in a couple of photos where they're a little droopy on the bottom in like these two here, but like
yeah, you remember.
You found out the hard way that there's yeah,
definitely there was a lesson learned, because like it was our first time doing it at the park, and
for all of us,
for all of us. So literally,
Parks Department told us they would shut them off, but now we tell people for the festival we submit to expect that it's possible they can come on. So if folks have things that they're worried about getting wet, they need to prepare it in some way. We do our best to get them shut off, but there's just no guarantee. you know, it obviously could rain or something too. But yeah,
Yeah.
yours, I remember yours getting like was right over a sprinkler head or
It
something.
was, yeah, it was, I mean, just don't put it next to the planters. I mean, we were like in between the planters. So it was just like showering over the paper tube. So yeah, that was a big lesson learned.
But they held up pretty. I don't think the wind didn't have much of an effect on them, if I recall.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a different team had that. Yeah, so they held up well, and yeah, they were readable throughout, which is always great.
Yeah.
Are there other lessons learned from it?
I think this probably will be for everyone. Like coming up with the concept and idea is always so fun, but making sure that your group is able to execute is more important. So I think my lesson learned is like, you know, as a designer, you always have like a grand and big idea, and like this is like one of the fun projects that you don't have client for it, you know. So I like sometimes you come up with a big idea, but like for example, like Uplift, it was like so simple but create a visual impact. So I learned the lesson that like it doesn't have to be like super huge, big, grand installation. It can be still simple and fun and interactive, and people will enjoy it.
Yeah, this was like a big one, even though it's simple and there's, you know, parts, but utilizing that to get to a full scale. I guess that's all the photos I have on that one.
Yeah, yeah. I think another lesson learned is we had on this installation we had a hidden message called perspective on the tree, and I mean we can't really control people's interaction during the installation party. So every once in a while we try to align the letters so that people are aware of
so people knew, yeah,
people knew what we were trying to share the message here. So yeah,
that's true. With like, you know, all the interactive stuff, there's some sort of guidance that's necessary.
Yeah, and then sometimes like when we were just like sitting or standing next to the installation and nobody is engaging, like not everyone like really come to the installation. So like we kind of took turn and just like do our little demo on our own and like inviting more people while we were doing so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's something that's good for all teams, right?
Yeah, that's a good tip.
It's not like people are gonna, you know, some things you can design it in such a way that people will come flock to it, but that's trickier. And sometimes even things that are, you know, I have installations we do that are very successful in terms of people really run up to them, but you go to a different spot, some other event, and people will just walk around them, you know, without touching. Yeah, we've done the same thing. You have to kind of pretend to be someone who's there at the event as well and interact with it to show people what to do. And then once somebody sees somebody, that's one way around it.
Yeah, definitely. Because
lots of signage is another, but like that's tough, you know.
Yeah, I think it's helpful to kind of engage with it so people see, you know, it's like demonstrating how you know you interact with it, and that can draw people in.
Yeah.
What happened to all the cardboard tubes after? It looks pretty recyclable, this one.
Yeah, we were able to recycle it on the day of and call it good. So it was pretty easy and nice for us to design it this way.
Do you think if you had a bigger team or a smaller team, it would have made the whole process easier?
I think when it comes to this kind of project, people have passion to it. Like you have passion to collaborate, you have passion to be part of the team. So I think the size doesn't really matter. But as long as you have like a willing to do and give your hours to work together, I think that's more important.
Because you were saying how you had like 4 people at the beginning, and I feel like when you have a lot of ideas, so many people, your ideas just ends up clashing.
Yeah.
It's hard to like think of a like one type of concept and one
Uh-huh.
type of design. So that's why I was asking, like, is it easier with like a smaller group and just say that this is what's going to happen, and then you just execute it and say, hey, I need X many of people to come
Mhm.
help for.
Yeah, I think that's why we started with like coming up the keywords and like grouping them into like 3 parts. And then that's how we divided people into each concept. And then we voted at the end. So that was kind of a mutual agreement.
Yeah, we've kind of approached it in a similar manner because you kind of want to make it very participatory, and the more creative minds you put together, the more ideas you can generate.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
do need to hone it at some point.
Yeah, you
One
do.
idea.
Sometimes like too many cooks in the kitchen. But like when you're just generating cool ideas, like I think many like number of people definitely help.
Yeah, that's a good question for those ones where, I mean, because you both Tyler and Irene, you're doing it with a larger office. Or is it it's set up as a team of effectively equals, or is there a person in charge who's sort of there to say, okay, look, do this at
Mm-hmm.
some point, like someone to break the deadlock, or is it truly set up as this is in-house collaborative thing?
I think it was mostly in-house collaborative, but we did have a person to set up at the meetings and do a regular check-in and writing down some notes from the meeting and things like that. So that was pretty helpful to have like a moderator or facilitator
Mm-hmm.
for the group discussions.
Yeah, it seems like you really do need to approach these types of projects as like a real project that you would typically work on,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you do have like a project manager that's kind of facilitating
Hmm.
things, making sure everyone's on task and on schedule, because you can run out of time really easily and you need to plan for that. And
Yeah,
so,
definitely. You can run out of time and run out of money. So
um, other things. Is there anything else you would change, either about what you've done in the past or how the event works in the future?
I think documenting our process was really helpful for, especially for navigating perspectives. We had a videographer actually documented
Oh
our
wow.
meetings and process, and we ended up having our like a promo video before before the block party. So it was really helpful for us to just have it as like a asset, and then I can. I mean, who knew I'll be talking to Seattle Design? That's the one I was able to pull up so easily. So I think documenting process, and then that also is helpful for the others, like future uh, participants. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think that documenting process is pretty crucial, and also like making sure collaborating with some builders and contractor was pretty beneficial for me. Like luckily we have the other person and we have model shop people, and we're able to deal with the mechanical and structural side. So um, yeah, just like encouraging partnership and collaboration with different disciplines.
That's good advice. Any other questions from Tyler or Christy?
yeah, I mean, what sorts of challenges did you face for either of these installations? I mean, you touched on a couple of them, but um, you know, during your process or during the installation,
Uh-huh.
what kinds of tips would you offer new teams that are, forming and haven't done this before, that they should be kind of aware of?
Um, I think just really considering installation, um, like is it related to the overall theme of the Seattle Design Festival they're holding? Each year is a different theme, so making sure that your installation speaks to the theme for the year, and then really thinking about afterlife of the installation, like including like uninstalling and recycling process, and how are you going to take it back.
Yeah, you're not done at 7 o'clock on Sunday. There's still that. How do you get rid of it?
Yeah. So that it's like we can't leave our installation on the park after doing it. So thinking about the after process is pretty important too.
I mean, I think one thing from this one that's nice too is this you have these areas in order to kind of deal with blowing up the balloons and hiding some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You built these little buffers, which I think were also meant to be the anchors.
Yeah.
But this was a nice way versus just like, I mean, obviously a card table or something with a cloth on it looks fine, but like that was a design. Utilizing that as a design challenge is interesting.
Yeah. Also, I mean, it was helpful for anchoring the mesh, but also kind of just creating an interactive zone where it creates a table so that people can write down on the balloons and things like that. So it was really helpful to have those pieces.
But I had another burst of balloon photos here, but I think they're just 1 and 2 images at a time here. Here's a close-up.
I do like your comment about documenting the process. It's often we get so focused on designing and doing the work that we forget to step back and think, well, maybe I should either write this down or take photos of this or something like that. Because sharing the process is really the really interesting thing about these installations, right? Like how did the design ideas come to fruition, and how did it all come together, really?
Definitely, because like maybe like a lot of people would love to participate but don't know where to start. I think like sharing that process is really, really helpful for them.
And both these installations have a interactive component to them. Was that something that you sort of started with, like as a main idea, like coming up with ideas of how to make it interactive, or what was the antithesis of that?
I think generally when we were brainstorming and working on this concept, we wanted to just create a simple action. Like when it comes to public installation, you do need like a clear, simple action and concept for people to engage. So it's easy to understand and easy to engage. So we wanted to create that simple action. And other thing was we wanted to kind of inspire public to continue to create some visible change. Like it could be just clipping one balloon onto the mesh, but at the end when you come back, it's like a lot of balloon and making like this visual big impact. And then like we wanted to have people to realize, I just participated one time, but it kind of helps to the overall impact. So that was kind of a key things we wanted to apply.
Yeah, and it sort of changes over the life of the festival too, right?
Yeah, that was the other fun part too.
Excellent. Well, I think we captured a lot of stuff there. Any last questions before we let Irene go?
What would you do next? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Christine.
So you started off working, like making installations in the festival, and then did you also take a few years where you didn't do anything? And then how did that lead you to wanting to be part of like the whole setup and behind the scenes and everything?
Yeah, I mean, well, for those of you who don't know, I started volunteering for as a core team for the Seattle Design Festival, and I just have genuine interest to inclusivity and representation and community engagement, because I was born and raised in South Korea and moved to the States as a really young age, and like learning new language and learning new culture and all that kind of things was like really inspired me that like design is there's no language barrier in design and music and arts. So I believe that though those design tools can be transformed and create like really empowering communities. So I think after participating twice for the block party installation, I was like, oh, I want to be a core member and really learn about like how things are happening behind the scene and how I can be really part of the design community. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, that's actually a good transition for anybody else who wants to get involved, not behind the scenes, but in front of the scenes. The ignoring whatever that was. The call for proposals is currently out. You can scan the QR code here or go to cdesignfest.org. Which will have the call for proposals there as well. I believe we're due in a little 7, 8, 9, 10 days. Next week on the 25th, it's due. So if you're seeing this now, hopefully you can get into it. Oh yeah, somebody just posted, or did I post that? I posted that in the chat. I forget whenever I click on that QR thing. So yeah, click the link in the chat. Other than that, check out cdesignfest.org for details about the festival itself coming up here in August. And we'll see everybody next time. Irene, thank you for joining us. I'm over here trying to scramble and turn off all these things. And we'll see everybody next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.